When I'm line signaling, channel operating communication signals of letters, numbers, and shapes, it formulates on so many levels of our body active line system. It protects us through our lights. It protects us through all volumes of our dream set positions. It protects us and always informs through our liquid lights and our formation systems. So coming into the cycle rotations of the fifth dimensional system, it's calculated and modified, illustrated through its diagram program setting, and I put it in position of a higher conditions of fifth dimensional system. So if you understand everything through your letters, numbers, and shapes, you're understanding more of your form, how you come into circle rotation center to its position. It's complicated stuff if you don't understand what I'm talking about, but my Galactic School is all about understanding more of yourself through letters, numbers, and shapes, because it formulates in all ways and forms. If you want to understand the universe, you have to understand the shapes and the structures of you. You have to understand the geometrics of its operation and its dimensions and its directions and its divisions. And you also have to understand everything through your wire location through your electrical light system. It's understanding more of you through calculation. So if you get into the structures, everything is digital. Everything is line. Everything is chronological order. Everything is in line sequence. Okay, there's variations and variations of so many levels of numbers that are connected to its realm. So truly understand where all levels of numbers are coming in, from connections of clocking to its dimension of time positions. Now we get into the forming system, okay? But before we get into that, thank you subscribers and viewers, and I'll be sharing in my channel through connections and going through connections of FYI, sending out the information. It's important that you guys understand more of yourself now, because we're coming into high rising rounding system of higher illumination lights of numbers, letters, and shapes. So you got to understand more of your geometry system, okay, your GODs, your geometrics, your operations, your dimensions, your directions, and your divisions, and everything through the systematical system of you through its system. So put yourself on those levels, okay? But before we get into that, we're going to go into more of the connections where you come into the healing, to understand everything through wire defense, wire locations, wire body activation line system. To understand your positions, you have to understand what your letters, numbers, and shapes represent to you. What does it mean to you when you look outside through perception? Everything that you see is all digital. A car has its own code. Trees have its own code, has its own coloration, has its own pattern, has its own nature, has its own weather. That's what's fascinating. So think of that. You're everything through connections. When you come into air, water, fire, and earth, using those alone is understanding conceptuals and how you change formations. I was tanning upstairs yesterday and in the mid-afternoon, and it was so hot. It's amazing how you come into tractions of geometry systems of the sun interference and how it connects in all ways and form through shapes of digital frames. So there's this humongous cloud, and I just made it disappear, and I put it in another dimension. And then I close my eyes and it comes back again, but a different shape through a geometry system. So you understand the atmospheres and what's going on with your Earth rotation center. So everything through its illusion becomes its reframing system to its revelation. The revelation of you is trying to understand, whoa, I understand myself more through shapes, letters, and numbers. I know how to communicate with a cloud. I know how to make a cloud disappear through a digital frame. I understand the illumination light skies. I understand the ultralights. I understand the vortex positions. I understand the shapes of me through connection. So you understand your biochemical system, your molecule structure of its light has to understand its thoughts of recognition of time positions. It has to understand its electronic interference. Okay, I have a team come to me right now, the Force team, and they're coming, well, what's this commander? What's that commander? Well, you have to recognize yourself first through lights to understand what you're seeing through reflection. It could be forcing connections of energy light systems. It could be an aberration of a ghost resolution line system. Resolution line is basically a reflection of you through your body frame. So the ghost is trying to read you through patterns. It's trying to read you through vibration. It's trying to read you through voice over pattern systems. That communication signal opens up everything channel operations of its dimensions. So if you're going through a relation of a ghost or anything to that connection, you have to understand the realm connections is coming through its plasma, because it connects through dream set positions, and that's why everybody's seeing different realities to its connection. But as we come into the frequency level of its connections, the waving cycle of the force winning cycle system is connected to 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. So it doesn't matter how you read that, backwards or forwards, it's the same number. Okay, when you come into traction position, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, right? 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. See, that's the full cycle. That's the fifth dimensional system through its gravity to its location. That's the positions we're coming in right now, right? So I got confirmation signal from that. And it's interesting too, because Sacred Flame can say, listen, there's an open portal right now. And it's the same thing through the signal. Signal is its connection when it comes into forwards or backwards. It doesn't matter how you read it. Okay. Every time you read it, it's always going 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. So you have a front force and you have a back force. And the front force and the back force come together through a cycle. That puts it in a position of fifth dimensional through its gravity position to its location. Okay. So Tina, how's it going? Magnificent, miraculous Monday. Yeah. I like it when it comes closer to the weekend, right? Mondays are okay, but I prefer when it's Wednesday. Say, yeah, 2 more days to the weekend, right? So basically, once you connect to that, you come into higher levels of fifth dimensional system. So understanding your shapes, letters, and numbers is truly getting into position of who you are through intelligence. Okay, so I want to get more into that through calculation. But it's understanding, if you want to understand more of yourself through your body, you understand more of your lights, because people are coming to perception, they're seeing this, they're seeing that. Everything is reflection off you. That's the first thing you have to look at. Why you're seeing this, why you're seeing that, what realm is this in, what dimension is in, what's happening with this clock, what's happening with this dimension of its time of its clock, what's happening with the plasma force, what's happening with the web connections, what's happening with the electronic defense location position. Okay, so things come to real to you when you understand, when you take pictures of yourself. It's all about reflections of what you see in the background. And it's all connected to you through vibration. So when you're taking a picture, okay, you're automatically taking a picture. It's now the past. It's no longer the present of its future. Okay, so it's interesting how you do that. And that's a clock, and then you have to look at. So the more you go fast through its clock, as soon as you take that picture, click. Okay, now it's no longer the past. Okay, it's gone into its future. So if you understand connections of what's going on through traveling mechanisms of time positions, you understand what 1, 2, 4 is, 2, 1. You read it back, it's the same thing. So it's understanding when you take that picture, you're going in time positions of that clock through its time, and that digital frame is going 1, 2, 4, okay, 2, 1. And it doesn't matter how you read it, okay, forward or backwards. So it's understanding your past, your present, and your future. Everything that you do, okay, as soon as you do something, it's no longer its connection, okay? It's no longer in its past because you already took the picture, right? So now you're moving forward. So every time you move forward, you're moving forward when you're walking or talking, right? Because time goes by. Time goes by. And each hour, okay, there's 60 minutes, okay, in an hour. Each hour that you go by, you go through the equivalency act of your connection when it comes into the framing through its electrical lights and its reflection, what you see through shapes, letters, and numbers. So think that when you're in that connection, you come into the force ringing cycle. This is you through connection, through your body framing positions. Okay, so you start off with this, right? That's you. Okay, so basically you got your thoughts, okay? You got your mind, okay? You got your brain, okay? You got your shapes, okay? You got your letters, okay? And you got your numbers, okay? This is what you deal with every single day, okay? So it's truly understanding your clock, right? So you understand your clock, you understand your positions of your clock. We're going to the rotation cycle through its position. So it's understanding your clock of dimension of time positions, okay? Now I know we got to get into the 100 chakra rotation centers to its position. So we're going to get into that, get into better calculations of who you are, right? Go into the evaluation of its test review. All right, so basically that's how we see yourself every single day. So it's truly understand what you're doing with your thoughts, truly understand what you're doing with the metrics of its thoughts, of its travel, its lights, and its molecular structure. You understand your time code frequencies, and every time you go around the clock, you're going faster and faster through connection of thoughts. You're going faster and faster through connections that come into connections of anything through its metric levels. Okay, anything through its forming system, or you go into numbers, letters, and shapes. Okay, then you understand everything through the mind, you understand everything through the brain. The mind is the creation, the brain is everything through the set port, and it's connecting to its fire noir and through its connection. So the brain is reading the mind's reading its thought is reading the shapes, letters, and numbers. As it comes into the clock, that's what brings you forward every single day, 24/7, 7 days a week. Okay, so weekends, rainbow, amazing, yeah. And that's another thing too, when you see a rainbow and it's in your house or it's on the floor, okay, or it's on the wall, wherever, it's always a reflection of you. But you have to understand the line strips. Okay, why is it yellow? Why is it red? Why is it green? It's connecting to you through the sun. So every time you interact with the sun, you're flying right away and you go through a dream set position. So you kind of like look at yourself below and you actually see the present or its future. The sun will put you in a radiation cycle that will put you into connection of a digital frame. That digital frame will put you forward with your thoughts and everything through the creation of its mind on what you want to do, what you want to become, and where you want to be. That shows you in positions, okay? Because the sun is everything through its projection. The moon is everything through its program setting, to its behavioral system. So every time you look at the moon, okay, it's putting a program of you through your behaviorals. So it gives you a calming center. It's understanding the true system through tranquility, serenity, or anything like that, right? Kismet, destiny, right? Destined. All that connected is to you. You want a better relationship. Look at the moon because it's connected through behavioral systems, through your reflections that's connecting to your body framing of time positions of its dimensions. The clocking system is truly understanding you through your thoughts, through your mind, through your brain, shapes, letters, and numbers. You use that every single day. So use that as the Galactic School as it comes into a school set, understanding your schools, understanding your sets, understanding your skills. Okay. So you have to understand your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, right? Before you get up and talk to anybody or anything like that. You have to know your alphabet. Okay. So it's all about reprogramming everything through dimension of time, because now the clocking system, okay, of the dimensional setting is in position right now. Okay, so you got a confirmation system of 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. Okay, it's been confirmed. 5D, gravitation, ground formation into its location. 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. See? So it reads on both cycles, guys, going forward or going backwards. So it's circling and rotating this way. Okay, it's going around like this, all right? So if you understand everything through its connection, you understand everything through its realm, how it comes into its dimension of its wormhole. Okay, so that's pretty much how you create a wormhole, going this way and going that way, and it's all connected to the digital of its number. So if you see a number that's 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, and it reads the same thing going back and forward, then you're creating a realm of division to a gateway. So the central line system of fifth dimensional system is set up through its gravity system, to its humanity, to its location. That's what's happening right now through positions, right? So it's strengthening the mind, strengthening the brain, strengthening the shapes, letters, numbers. So the illuminations and everything through its light skies. I keep saying light skies because you understand everything through your perception is nothing but light. When you go through my healing, you automatically go into the light. You actually see the filters of your light, and then just, whoa, everything's brighter. Because when I heal people, they say, whoa, what did you do? I feel brighter, right? Somebody like you're blind, and you can open up anything. So you understand the inside of you is nothing but a number. And if you understand the numbers and shapes, you understand the chronological order, you understand the sequences in the map location, your body system is nothing but a map of healing. So it's truly understanding your particles, truly understanding the molecular structure of light, it's truly understanding the wires and how it connects to all forms. So once you get into that, you get into connections like this. Okay, it's trying to understand the wire signals and everything through its activation system, because it goes on so many levels, okay, through the brainwave in pattern positions. Okay, so we go through these point centers through each connection. You start off with this, okay? It doesn't look like much, but you have to understand everything through its connection, right? Its position. Okay, so let's say this is the connection to the brain. Now everything in the brain fires and wires its positions. So it line signals the channels, the point centers, and everything through electronic interference. The pattern locations is everything through the brainwave. The brainwave is everything through the energy wave. The energy wave is everything through vortex. Vortex is everything through travel of thought, through the molecular structure of light. And then you get connections. So every time you speak, you're activating everything through cycle. Okay? So let's change it to a connection of red so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So every time you change a frame, so if you say number, okay, this is what happens. It activates. Say it's red, right? When you say shape, it activates, but it activates a different color, right? So now you're understanding the difference between shapes, letters, and numbers. Okay, if you're saying anything through connections, a shape, letter, okay, a letter through connections, it's going to the green. All right, so these are three different particles of energies through your holograph of understanding. So the brain is understanding everything through shapes, letters, numbers, and it's going through its connection of travel recognition through its molecular structure of its light. It's connecting to its wire location of its position, and it's balancing everything through its thought. Okay, so if you're connecting and you want to travel through your connections and you're always using numbers, if you're using numbers to that calculation, right, you go into this position, anything in that division. So it's all about understanding your communications to cyclorotation center positions. So every time you connect through a number, letter, shape, it's always going through its valve. So it's called valve interference. It's valve audio interference, and it's a valve metric location interference. So it connects in all around connections. All right. So when you connect to that, it opens up all the channel operation center positions of shapes, letters, and numbers. You guys have to understand more of yourself because you're coming into the waving cycle of its position, right, in the fifth dimensional system. And the fifth dimensional system has to understand the brain waving patterns because you have to understand your intelligence more through connection to the colors. So the brainwave is trying to understand the color you're reacting with, acting and reacting. So you're going to take difference to indifference. So you have to understand if you're traveling through the number and you don't change the frame, it's going to follow up through its connection and it's going to travel right here, right? So you're getting balance from one position to the next. But if you change the frame, if you say letters, numbers, and shapes, you're going to activate this and you're going to activate this, and that's how it comes in together, and there's no balance through positions. So it's understanding how when you're connected to one line signal and you're traveling to all recognition of time positions, right, to one balanced location, right? That's what's happening right now. So it travels into one line communication. That's where it's balanced. It doesn't get balanced with three different colorations if you don't understand the shapes, letters, and numbers through your brain waving pattern positions. Okay, so it's extremely complicated if you understand the brain and where it comes from, right? So you have to understand the birthing system. It's like understand you as the tree. It's trying to understand your DNA strands. It's trying to understand your molecular structure of light. It's trying to understand the photons of light, protons, neutrons, electrons, anything electronic, anything magnetic, the highway of its information system. But the brain has to truly understand your thoughts of time positions, right? But if you don't do that, what happens? It goes into, different levels of viruses. So you get the red and you got the blue and the green all mixed in. Okay. So it's kind of like crashing cars and you're at the proceeding, you're at the go or you're at the stop. So, with the stop sign, there's connections to green, yellow, and red. So what happens if, it's blinking off like this? What happens? It goes like this. What's it doing, right? There's going to be a car crash, right? And you're going to see center position of all cars, not communicating, right? So the electrical light system went off. So people have to be aware of that too. Or when a plane goes down, right? When it malfunctions, it's better to understand how to do this than go through a simulation. So you got to look at the practical levels, how you get into this through its regulatories or anything like that condition. Your modulation centers have to understand your positions of traveling positions, right? So you don't go into crashes or anything condition. Because if you put yourself in position, you can actually crash yourself into a planet position. I've done that, and it feels really, really bad because now I'm reacting to a cycle position. I didn't connect to my brainwave patterns, and this is what happens, right? So it's understanding if you get one thought of recognition, one position, and you use your numbers, as long as you use your numbers in one line signal, one thought through one connection, through one direction, you will follow up through its connection of its brainwave patterns. But as soon as you change positions, okay, if you go into the red, it's going to confuse the traveling recognition of its thought to its time position. All right, so go through the red, right? So it's going to activate. It's going to go like this. Right? That's what's going to create a vibrational system. So when it connects to that, now you got to heal it. Because if you don't heal it, it's going to go through the roadmap location. So your brain is also a roadmap. Everything, your whole body is a map. It's a map of thought. It's a map of time. It's a map of travel. It's a map of dimension. It's a map through space. So you have to truly understand the firing and wiring of its position, of its thoughts, of its travel, of time. So if you don't understand that and you don't understand your colorations the firing wire of its positions, what happens is you're going to go through stop and go positions, and it's just going to get bigger. It's going to get bigger, and it's going to get bigger. And this is what creates cysts, cancers, atom rotation centers positions, cavity wall positions. Right? That's what happens to the brain. Right? What happens from here? And then it goes into connections. So it blends in, it takes away all the connections of the red cells. Okay, they come in and take over the white cells. So this is what happens in position. And then it just basically creates one after another. And then you start suffocating, you can't breathe. But see how it travels through positions? All because you didn't correct your thoughts through your brainwave pattern of travel positions. Okay, so if you don't understand that, then you understand it's going to line signal and it's going to channel operation, and it's going to get so big, you're going to get blood clots, blood vessel clots. Okay, see how it spreads to the brain? Powerful, isn't it? So basically, how are you going to heal this if you keep using wrong thoughts of recognition of negative systems? You're creating your own anomaly. You're creating your own cancer. You're creating your own decisions. You're creating your own map locations into the dark location, right? So if you keep doing that, what happens? You have to understand your positions of time, of your thoughts, and you always have to bring yourself forward, because if you don't, it just expands in so many horizon center positions, the cavity wall or anything through blood clots, they get central clots. Remember, I'm all electrical lights, so that's how I heal everything through proactive system. But it's going through an alarm, so it's kind of like your brain is going off through an alarm. It's like going, That's what it's doing. So if you don't understand the electrical light system, don't keep creating negative systems in your mind system, because your brain is going to react. And every time it reacts, it's going to get worse and worse. And that's where you get blood clots. That's where you get cancer. That's where you get these diseases. That's where you get dementia. Okay? So when it formulates to all level connections, let's go into those connections. All right? So when we get into that, it's really powerful, because now it's creating its own map location. Right? And all you're doing is you're making it worse. Right? People don't understand the mind. They don't understand the brain. The brain is extremely powerful because you live with it every day. It's circuitry levels, connections. It's all connected to your traveling of your heart. Everything's connected to the spine. Everything in your body is connected. Okay? Now, the perception of what you see, you have to understand, what are cells? What are atoms of cells? What are rotation of regeneration of cells? What is a DNA strand? What is a blueprint? What is a contract? Okay? What are microcells? What are microscopic cells? Okay? What are nanotechnology cells? Okay? Nanobot cells. All this is connected to you. So you have to understand the wires of its connection, the traveling recognition of time position of space. So if you put your positions of negative thoughts, this is what you create through the brain system. Okay? So if it gets bigger and bigger, it will change color, right? It will go red to black. So you have to understand, when you're in the connection, I know that because this is what happens. So when there's no more pumping, when the valve is resisting on so many electronic divisions of wire connections, basically the pattern location changes the colorations and it changes it to black. That's how you lose anything connection, like anything through your tracks, your urinal tracks, when you go to the washroom. So you have to understand that it's important that our health is everything through its valve. It's all about funneling. It's understanding what's in the electrical light system through your body framing system. Now, I'm talking more like a space doctor, because I am. But if you understand the brain location positions and everything through its location, you understand what the brain is. This is understanding more creations of what your brain is doing when it comes into color. So if you're changing color, you're changing space and time of color through your vibration, and your vibration will go black. It's like when you lose your liver, it goes black, right? Anything through your pancreas or anything like that. So the coloration, okay, everything through the cells, okay, the red cells are now taking over the white cells. That's where you can't breathe. Okay, so the white cells, basically it's all about, we have protein. So the protein is plasma. It's connected to the electrical light system, okay? So it's all connected to the center position. Okay, so we have to understand our health and our dietary system. Every time we eat something, the particle system opens up everything through the stomach lines. We have cavity lines. They're all connected to location positions, right? So if you're centering positions and you're creating your own anomaly through your brainwaving patterns, you're creating blood clots and cysts, okay? It's not pretty, is it? So I've been up against this, you know, people that are stage 4 cancer, and I healed it right away. So it's understanding the bone. It's understanding the relation of the bone. It's understanding the source of the bone. It's understanding the electricity of the bone. It's understanding the thoughts of the person of creation. So it depends on where this person is. Let's say it's been living 60 years and it's been having cancer for 20 years, right? Now it's understanding how a person can take care of themselves. That's connected to your thoughts. Your thoughts change coloration of time through space. So your clocks and everything through your connection, either it's going back force or time force of going forward. So I truly understand the electrical light has to keep going forward. That's how you create things. That's how you come into the health system to its body, right? And it liquid lights everything through its water of its intake. So it connects. So the higher you go, the more you produce water, okay? Because we all start off at 67%. So that 67% has to be its percentage to its dietary system, okay, through anything that you take, through its food supplements or anything. You can take vitamins and all that, right? A lot of people don't like eating vegetables, so basically they take vitamins, okay? So there's a lot of things, you know, you can do with the gravitation of yourself, the power centers of yourself, or anything through the atmospheres of thoughts. But as long as you understand what the brain is and what it does, it's amazing how it goes to the travel of its mind. It fires and wires, okay? So if you understand that, then you understand the traveling positions and how you can get out of anything through its health system of cancer or anything through its connection of Parkinson. What is the cause of Parkinson? It's nerve stems that are hitting the brain, right? It's flicker motion. So you have to understand how to take it out. You have to change the coloration, okay? Because it's hitting the bone fragments, it's hitting the tubes, it's hitting the valves. Remember, it's all about understanding what you're seeing through the brain, okay? I see my brain every day. I know what it looks like. So if you know what a brain looks like, that's powerful alone. So now you're going through the bioatmosphere of your thought through travel. So I'm traveling positions 500 million years into the future. So my brainwave patterns knows what it's doing. It's going extremely fast. It's not stopping. As soon as it stops, I stop talking, right? So it will slow down. But it won't stop, okay? So that's why I know filter. So if I don't say anything, it will, right? You know what I mean? So every time I talk, it fires and wires location. So if I create a positive center and then a negative system at the same time, so you're creating a cyst. So it gets bigger and bigger in the brain waves. And then it gets into the clog, and then it gets into the more of the red cells. So the red cells are now taking over the white cells, the protein. So you have to understand what plasma is, okay, through its connection. So it interlines, interconnects, goes into tunnel location. Okay, so you get red cells going in like this. Okay, this is the tube, right? And the connection. So you got everything connection. All right, so the tubes are going in, right? These are the stomach line. So basically, the white cells are already connected to the cavity of its wall. Okay, these are the white cells. Okay, they're activating. This is what keeps your proteins up. All right, so these are the white cells. Okay, these are the white cells. You're living a healthy system. You're putting your water in through its intakes. Now the red cells are coming in, right? Because you're creating it. You understand what red cells are? It's the opposite of positive. It's the negative. Simple, guys. So it's electrical wire that's negative. So the electrical wire comes in every single day, right? As soon as you change your mind, it goes into the connection. The wire signals its positions. It's complicated stuff. So it kind of like overrides. So it's kind of like, I'll show you. Okay, here's a white cell, right? Living its protein system through dietary system. Now a red cell comes in, so it covers over the white cell. Okay, so it's like a spider. It's like a spider that comes up and over and gravitates. It just just basically goes like this, right? And changes it right away, right? And then it creates a cyst of vibration. And then you, I can't breathe, right? So if you create that, you're going to have to be cautious because now you're creating a central line of a cavity line of a round connection. So you have to look at yourself as space and time positions of its clock. So you understand the reversing cycle, how to take cancer out. And that's all connected. So it's understanding if a person is living 15, 20 years and they have cancer inside their bones, you have to change the bone. And you have to change the particle of the bone. You have to change the electrical light of the bone. You have to change the coloration of the bone. You have to change the tubulars of the bone. There's a lot of things you have to understand what the bone is. Okay? Bone is everything through protein. Okay? So it's understanding how to get calcium to the bone, right? Milk is not that great. Okay, people say milk is great, but it's not. You have to understand everything is chemical base, but your body and your intelligence will tell you underlying through its connections. So if you understand positions and what red cells are and what protein cells are through connections, because that's what the white cells are, it's protein. So it's all connected to a plasma. So it's kind of like, looks like this. So it goes in its traction location position here. Just show you here. All right. So you get a central line system here. These are the plasmas, okay? So you got to look at the stomach, what it looks like. So it's circling, it's traveling through, okay? It's traveling through, something like that, okay? So basically, it's going to the white cells. I'll show you exactly what the stomach line looks like. It's really cool. So it's kind of looking like inside. So these are the white cells, okay? These are the white cells that are in the body. This is what it looks like. Now, the red cells only come in when you create negative vibration through your thought recognition of time. So basically, red cells are developed. They are created through source of vibration. So if you're creating the red cells, they come in traction. Okay, and I'll do it through black so you understand the connections. Oh, so the red cells come in through formation, through this connection. I'll show you their positions here. All right, it's complicated stuff, but complication is good, right? All right, so here's, now we got one here, okay? And they're coming down, right? These are the red cells. Now I'm doing red because it's red over white, but you understand what your stomach looks like. So the white cells are living the protein. It's living the health system. It's feeding its source. Remember, everything through cell is all about regeneration. Your regeneration generation to its force running cycle, to its time dimension location, to all cell rotation center positions. So truly understanding that this is the red cell, and every time you create it, it comes up and it goes like this. Okay, this is what it does. It covers over. Okay, it covers over the white cell. Okay, so kind of like that. That's what it does. Okay. So, and then every time you create it, it goes on to the other side, and you're creating more and more, right? So it covers over, right? Kind of looks like watermelon, right? The seeds. But as they're coming in, right? It's intelligence. So it's nanotechnology. It's like it's grabbing over, right? And it takes over the white cell, right? So when it does that, your connections to your heart and everything through your voicing grid patterns, then you start breathing. So now it's clogging and it's creating vibration to the brain positions. Okay. So this is what red cells create. Okay. So let's go into the black dots again. So this is what happens. So when it creates its own time position. This is what happens to the bone. It turns black. You guys should know that. If you don't, well, you have to understand. How to get rid of cancer. I've healed many people with cancer. So this is what your bone looks like. It's black, right? Black is taking over. So you get red over black now, right? So there's no more white cells. The red cells are destroying the white cells, and it's all connected to source through its thought of time positions. So when you're creating, you are creating your physical, okay, every electrical light system through your body frame. It's all connected to your health and your dietary system and what you do with your thoughts of time. So as it's creating, this is what happens to bone. It turns black. When it turns back, basically what happens next? It filters up. Okay, wherever it is, wherever it is. If it's in your throat, you have throat cancer, you have lung cancer, you have chromium disease. There's a lot of things with chromium. It's all connected to H2O. It's all chemical base. There's blood clots, nosebleeds. There's a lot of things they can get, right? So you have to understand what is going on with intelligence because it's creating its own negative realm of time, position of space. So it's putting you in a back force of time. and it's trapping everything through your connections. So it's all about taking away your soul and its light positions. Okay, so this is what actually happens when you see everything through cell rotation through regeneration system. So I'm going to understand the particle system and how it creates everything. So the brain, look what's happening in the brain now, right? So what's happening? It's not just an alarm anymore, right? You're going red over black, and if you keep going like that, right, it creates its own realm location. No more white cells, so you can't breathe, right? And that's why you have to have the oxygen, right? Right, and that's why you have to be on the monitors, right? The doctors check your monitors, right? Okay, so that is a lot of negative wire. Okay, so just be cautious on your thoughts every time you travel through the mind system, because you're creating everything through its disease. Nobody else creates that, you do. But I'm just showing you what happens with the brain if you don't understand everything through its cell, everything through its white cell, and what it does through the stomach lines, right? So you're creating everything through connections. A healthy body stays in position of its protein. So the protein has to understand the mutations. If it doesn't understand the mutations, it's kind of like when you take an aspirin. So if you're taking an aspirin, it's automatically going to go into its connection, and it's going to go through its reading patterns, and it doesn't understand its position, so you're going to have to throw it up. If you don't throw up and you keep it in your system, now you're creating a negative vibration. So it's overlapping. Everything overlaps, okay? And it takes over right away, okay? And then just gets bigger and bigger, bigger, right? And then again, you can't breathe, right? Because all the white cells are destroyed now. You're creating red and you're creating black, right? So, and black is black, okay? So, and you have to understand how powerful what the brain is, but it all starts off with your connections, okay? Your time clocks, okay? Everything in the mind, everything in the brain, shapes, letters, and numbers through its connection, okay? So this is more of a waving cycle through location. Try to understand more of yourself through positions, putting yourself more into your health rotation. If you want to go through my healing to help you through your traction positions, bioscan you. See, bioscan is amazing because you're learning more of yourself, knowing that how is this possible? How is this possible that somebody can actually see my bone, actually see everything through its connection? You know, everybody has a nerve stem, a brain stem, anything through a clock, anything through a dimension of time position. You're understanding your vibrational signals of your health rotations. So your health rotation is going forward or it's going backwards. If it's going backwards, it's creating, okay, it's red cells. It's creating the dark center position. So you're creating your own dark matter, okay, of your own civilization of your body. Okay, so you're not creating space anymore. You're going back in time as space. And that's where you lose time, lose tractions of time, lose positions of time. That comes into dementia. And now you're creating your own dimension of a realm. Now you're creating a parallel of a realm. Now you're in a paradox of a realm. So now you're into schizophrenia, okay? And then you come into the psychosis, you know, when you come into the PTSD, that's not what it means, okay? It's planetary teleportation, okay? Anything through systems of dimensions. That's what PTSD stands for. So you understand your connections to that connection line system, all right? Because let's look at this way. Let's start off with this. I think I showed you this. What does this stand for, right? Geometrics, operations of divisions, dimensions or directions, right? Now, what is it spelled backwards? Now, this is understanding seeing shapes, letters, and numbers going forward or backwards, okay? So basically, that's what it is backwards, right? Dog. But you understand this is dimensions of operations through geometric system of you. That's what it means in space. So this brings you forward. This brings you forward. So it doesn't matter if it goes this way. It doesn't matter if it goes this way. Okay? It doesn't matter. Okay? It all comes out the positive system. Okay? So there's nothing negative about this and there's nothing negative about this. So it doesn't matter how you read it, right? But if you're coming across words or letters, numbers, or shapes that you go forward and backwards, now you're creating a circle around the rotation with extremely powerful three connections of 7777. Very, very powerful portal. Or anything through activation cycle positions of 4444. Right? 7777, 777, right? That's why it's powerful. So it's going forward, it's going backward, the center positions, right? Forward and backwards, right? But as soon as you put anything through calculation, let's say you go into time positions, so shapes and anomalies. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So you understand the communications of those numbers, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So if you understand the communication of that, then you understand it's the same thing, right? Because you're always connected to the presence of its future through its position, okay? The only time, if it's 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, and you read it back, you're going into the past, present, and its future all in one alignment, okay? So if you come into that position, right, back into this location, okay, of 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, all right, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. It's reading the same thing, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, right? That's a full cycle. Okay, that's the connections to its past. That's the connection to its present. That's the connection to its future. Okay? Hooah. Understand? One position, second location, fourth division, second location, one division. All right? Past, present, future. Because it's going center positions, a circle rotation, because it doesn't matter how you read it, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, it's the same thing, right? So it's amazing when you see these things. So you have to send more calculations, right? Because it modifies you through travel light to its connection. So I wanted to get more into the brain positions, especially if you want to understand more of what it is, because when you put coloration on bone, what happens? It's getting worse, right? Because you're creating it worse. Right. So basically, this is when you give up about your health, you give up about your light, you give up about your vibration, energy, and frequencies. So you put in frequency and coloration, and it just and it's covering over the bone, right? And now you're creating more problems with yourself, right? And then pretty soon you won't be able to walk to the bathroom. All right. So these are the positions that you put yourself in. And the last thing to go, okay, is the mind of creation. What are you creating now? Are you creating a schizophrenic of a realm? Are you creating a force-winning cycle of protein of a realm through a gelic realm through connection of force-winning cycle of a realm? What are you connecting to through your thoughts? Thoughts are everything through space and time of positions. Your fifth dimensional system of vibration is now open up its gateways, okay? Your gateways of the past, present, and its future of 1, 2, 4, and 2, 1. Doesn't matter how you read it. Okay. So if you just saw 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You have to understand 1, 2, 3, 4 does not mean the same travel as me, because you're going through different dimensions of time, Tina. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is different to your intelligence of time positions. It's different to your thoughts. It's different to what you're doing through its clock. All right. So if you get into that connection of 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, okay, and then you go backwards, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay, and then basically you understand you can mix it up. You can go into, let's say, you can 4 here, you can put 3 here. Basically, you can put 1 here, and you can put 2 here, and now you got 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, see how I switched it up? Okay. So it's all about understanding your thoughts of time positions of travel through its numbers, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. As soon as you change your thought, you're putting 4 here, 3 here, 2 here, and 1 here in position. It's not confusing. It's only confusing if you allow it to be confused through your thoughts. So in position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1 means the same thing. You have to understand position of the mind and the brain through its location and position. Yes, it's different numbers, but it's the same intelligence because it's in the same line signal. See? So it's kind of like putting 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, into basically 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay? Slash it up. Okay? So it's basically, when you travel through your thoughts, you change the time of your thoughts, you're moving positions of numbers. right? So the chronological system has to understand your reading patterns when you're coming into the brain location, to its mind location, to its creative center, to its map location, to its body of its digital connections, okay, of your simulation graphs, okay? Now, it's complicated stuff if you don't understand time of travel through position. Now, when you get into those connections, you come into connections of GOD, and you come into DOG, is dog, right? But that's not what it means, right? So you understand the division, you understand the direction, okay? So everything, the division and direction, has its dimension, okay? Everything through O is its connection to its operation. Everything through its G is the geometrics of U through shapes, letters, and numbers, okay? So that's how your commander does these things through travel. That's why I don't confuse the mind. That's why I don't confuse the brain. The brain and the mind always goes forward. If you don't go forward, this is what you create through the brain. Okay, you're creating cancer, you're creating anything you want. You are the power of time, of space. You are the power of your recognition of time, of space. You are the power and its control of its continuous force of your thoughts, of lights. So you're creating dark lights, or you're creating lights that are connected to its thought through its molecule structure of light. Remember, it's the protons. It's all about your electrical light system. It's all about your particles. It's all about everything through your cells. You got billions and billions of cells. You have to understand how to operate them. Operate every one, which is extremely hard to do, right? Your commander can do that because I've been given a gift, but I haven't been given a gift. I was born this way. There's a difference. So either you're born or you're gifted. There's all about other things, like with the connections of Spider-Man, you know, where he got bit by a radioactive spider. Okay, so he wasn't born; he was gifted. There's a difference. You have to understand the connections of DNA. With Batman, okay, his parents died. Okay, then he became a vigilante. Then he had his belt. You know, that was his power. You know, he wore a cape and all that. So, and you know, he was Batman. And with Superman wasn't gifted. Superman was born. Okay? Do you understand the difference now between all three? So if you understand that, then you understand everything through your thoughts, because everybody is all connected to its human, of its essence, of shapes, letters, and numbers. So it's all about understanding how to keep the brain in position of going forward every single day with the mind of creation of its molecule structure of light connection. Because now you're connecting to the placebo, connecting to the cortex of its dream. You're connected to the spine rotations, the spinary connection line system. Okay. Now, if you get into the spider ops are connected to nanotechnology. So that's all the graphing positions they graph on, like a plasma, that connection, right? So you have to understand the filters of your stomach. You have to understand the streamings of your stomach. You have to understand your cavity walls of your stomach. Everything connects. You have to actually see through connections. Like waving cycles through position. I'm going to the center line position of my stomach rotation, and I'm seeing the white cells, right, going through its tunnel, right? It's just going extremely fast. So it's understanding what you're seeing through your body, and that's connected to its mind. It's created through its time of thought. It's created to your. So it's kind of like when you bioscan yourself, you're actually seeing the cells and what they're doing every single day. Every time I channel my operations of my thoughts, my voice, my audios, my perceptions, my creations, it's all connected to the eyes, ears, and the mouth. Okay? So when you understand that, you understand your perceptions of time when it comes into GPS location. You come into string theory through automative, auto-collective, auto-connection, auto-rotative system. There's so many things you have to connect through lines when it comes into string theory of connections, because it connects in all realms through dimension, portal, activation, through sentience. But once it gets complicated, that's where you become more efficient and more effective through travel positions, of time positions, of clocking positions of your digital frame. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, or 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, you know. So it all connects in all waves and cycles. So it doesn't matter how you play it in any way, in form, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, past, present, future. So your thought recognition light system is a circle rotation center position, which puts you into the fifth dimension. Okay, so how's everybody doing today? Yeah, magnificent, miraculous Monday. Weekends, rainbow, amazing. Greetings, Shuva. I saw a license plate said Ward, but I read a code as draw. Well, there you go. So it doesn't matter if it's forward or backward. It's all a reflection of what you see through your intelligence, not your physical system. So when you're reading something, you have to understand what it means to you, okay? Because it connects through you, through energy. So when you see draw, okay, what happens with your body? What happens with the activation of your body? So draw is going forward, right? And ward is going back, okay? So if you understand that, then you understand the connections of your brain waves and your positions of your mind, of your thoughts. So you're not getting confused on what goes forward and what goes back through position, right? So I just really want you guys to get into your shapes, letters, and numbers because you're all connected to it, right? You're all connected to it. So it's a digital of a map location to its position. So it grabs its signals to the positions, okay? So it's got number codes in position. Okay. Lacing lines, exclamation marks. It's got S rotations. It's got box interference. It's got line. It's got percentage. Okay. So it's really understanding what you're seeing. This is all connected through intelligence of time, position, of space. All right. So it's understanding the equations of zero, comes out, understanding everything through its connection of its box, comes out, understanding everything through its S rotation. All right. So you basically take those position of zero, box, S. Okay. So operations, box, system. Understand? That's how you do it. That's how you do it. So the operations of its box system is calculated and modified in its line sequency of its beginning. So that puts it in the position of the past, right? And that puts it in its position of its present. So each number is past, present, and future. Okay? Past, present, future. Right? Operation, box, systems. So the system goes up to a higher level connection. You take it out of its equation. Right? And then you go into the connections of the second line. Right? The second line, which is 1, 2. Okay, through connections. You go into that level system. So it's 1, 2. Okay, we got another box. All right, so anything that's connected as a 1, 2 box, you understand one line signal, one activation, one location position. Second is the activation to its box. All right, so it's understanding the connections of what's happening. So it's understanding when you get the operation of the box of the system, it goes up through its equation, then you go into the second line. So it's all about reading the patterns of your body, of its activation line system. You have to understand the holographic system of you through calculation, right? So if you get into position, you understand the system, it goes up and out of its equation, goes into the second line, right? Then you go down here again. So you go 1 through its connection, 1, 2 box. Okay, one division, one location, one activation, second rotation center to its box, right? So once you understand that, the box comes out and it goes into the third line position, right? Goes into its third line. So once you understand that, now you understand everything through nature because you're connecting through perception. You're connecting through your audios of your gamma operation positions. You're connecting through electronic energy interference and your body reflection and your motion sensors open up everything through line sequencing patterns. So it gets complicated if you don't understand the communication of yourself through possession of intelligence. So it's understanding fully communicating. I'm only giving you the graphing of its DNA through its structure positions, how matrix comes in to shapes, letters, and numbers. So it's understanding your tesseract and actually how to connect through round locations of its maze. This is how you communicate with its shape in space and time through its position, right? So it's all about you connecting to your central line system and truly understand the lights that's inside you through position. So every time you take everything out of the equation, once you understand one traction, two position, or anything, two activation, to its box frequency comes out, and they go into 2 through its connection. So it's 2, and then we get the wave. Wave is weather. Okay, and then we got the percentage. Okay, right? So once we understand that, okay, the percentage comes out and it goes into the fourth of its division to its location. So it's 3, 11, 8. Okay, so we take 3, 11, and 8 through connection. Remember, this is all connected to your body system, right? Right. So basically, this sets core systems of 3-dimension, 11 signals of location positions in an 8 rotation center to its planet position. Okay, so this is what you communicate through its intelligence of its location position. Intelligence. The intel of 3118. Okay, so complicated, isn't it? It's really complicated. So it's really understanding more of your calculations. So if you understand your frames and you have to go down in positions each time, so you take it out of this equation and then you move up to the second location, which is your frame. So you have to understand your framing system from head to toe. Okay, but you start off with the grounds. You start off with the ground, it has its rotation cycle, it has its position of its codes, right? So everything lines, signals, channels to its rotation system through its allocated position. So the ground formation has its own code, right? Which is its inline signal. Line/signal. Okay. Now the line signal opens up everything through its calculation. Let's say it's 4268. Okay, 4268. That's the line signal. Okay, and the center position, okay, is a different line communication. All right. So it's line/signal, but it's a higher force condition. So it's understanding, we start off with the box framing system of you through perceptions, try to understand your frequency levels, how you take things out of the equation, and you go channeling down to your location. You start at the top and you work your way to the bottom, right? Or you can start at the bottom, work your way up to the top. That's a true understanding where you come into 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. Doesn't matter how you read it, right? So your body has to understand the propagating cycles of past, present, and future to its connection of shapes, letters, and numbers. And that's how you put everything in chronological order, okay? So if you're going from head to toe or toe to head, it doesn't matter. As long as you understand it comes into a cycle rotation. That's where it comes into its gravity system of 4268, right? So the line communication comes up. Let's say it's 6482, right? 6482, totally different number, but you understand you're connected to the center position. The center position is stronger than the out surfacing system because this is the creation. So it's understanding the back force and the front force through its connection. When it has its own circular rotation center, everything through letters, numbers, and shapes comes into traction position or gravity position. Okay. Once it comes into its gravity, it creates its own realm of connection of a circular rotation center of its line communication. Right? So it's complicated. I don't want to get too far into it. It's too complicated. It's extremely hard formulas if you don't understand nature and how it works through circles and rotations. How water spins in your glass. You know, those little particles, little numbers floating. So it's understanding how to put it all together. And you start off at the bottom, work with the gravity, and work your way up, right? It's the same thing with the graph, the simulation graph, your meditation graph through its connection. Line signals, channels, 2 shapes, letters, number to that position. But you have to understand your box frequency levels of your numbers, letters, and shapes. Okay, or anything through its keyboard or anything through its phrase. Percentage, box, weather, doesn't matter. But you have to understand positions from here, 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 and here. Take it out as equation, and then you understand everything through calculation. Because it's going to modify everything through your modulators of your providers. Okay, so it's really trying to understand you as a calculator. You are a calculator. What is this? Times this, plus this, subtract this, divide this. Okay, you are a calculator. So trying to understand your calculator of your body and how you communicate with space and time, its position of its thought. So it's all connected to the molecular structure of you through connection. So powerful, isn't it, Tina? Powerful. I know everybody's scratching their head. But yeah, you can basically connect through me through my healing and open up your cycle rotations at 12 rotations positions, and that will put you into the maze connection of its tesseract, because everybody has their own Rubik's Cube. So it's understanding their life system, okay, is a maze. So it's trying to understand the maze of your box. It's trying to understand the maze of time, of space. It's trying to understand your positions when it comes into your digital framing of its body framing system, okay, and how it all comes into chronological order of its position, right? So it's really understanding the past, present, and future of thoughts. Okay. Your past, okay, slash thoughts. Your presence, let's say present, slash thoughts, and your future, right? So as soon as you say something in the future, you have to understand the communication changes to the earth of simulation, right? So if you keep going in the future and you don't present yourself in the present, you're confusing yourself in the past. Weird. Okay? Past, present, and future, all connected to your thoughts, right? So you got to make sure that you keep your anomalies in straight form through its past, present, and future. So if you want to communicate with the future, right, you have to understand the circuit rotations of your position of your body frame system. It goes on circle rotation, center in this position, going faster, faster, and faster, and faster. Now, if you keep yourself in the future, you're not going to have a presence, and you're certainly not going to reference the past. So if you're in the future, you got to get back in the presence, because the presence is its earth through its simulation. The simulation has to understand its rotation to its vibration of its body framing system. If not, there will be no future, okay? And there will be no past, right? So you have to present yourself always, always in connection of thoughts in the presence, right? So I can't put myself in the future, okay, unless I know the past of its present, of my thoughts. So it's understanding what your thoughts are through its creation of its mind. The mind's creating, and everything through the brain is firing and wiring. So the brain is creating everything through connection of the brain waves. The brain waves is open everything to the energy pattern. The energy pattern is going to open everything through your connections, especially when you're connected to your dream set positions. Okay, it's complicated stuff. But as long as you understand the past of your thoughts, the presence of your thoughts, and the future of your thoughts through its connection, future slash thoughts, okay, you won't have a problem. But don't put yourself always in the future. Put yourself in the presence, because the simulation of the interface, okay, of the Merkaba, right, Merkaba, has to truly understand you through connections of its earth rotation. If it doesn't present you in the presence, the future won't understand the past, and the past won't understand the future, and the future won't understand the present to its past. So it gets complicated. So in ratio, when you understand connections of yourself, fourth waning cycle, what is a circle rotation? Okay. What is a circle rotation? Okay. What is a circle rotation? What is a circle rotation? Okay. It's all connected to framing positions. So it's trying to extend your connections to its round location, goes into its line communication, goes into its triangle location position. All right. Now it connects to its realm location. Now we're creating it through an illustration of diagram. It's creating through its realm. Okay, it's going into the center position, to its location, right? Now it's going through all positional levels to a planet location position. Circle rotation here, circle rotation here, circle rotation here. Okay, now you got a pyramid, right? To its connection. Okay. So it's connecting your activation cycle of 3, 6, and 9 to its proactive system. Realm here, realm here, realm here, realm here. Line signal across, cross-reference to its location position, right? So it's all about taking these things out of its equation to its position. Okay? But it certainly has to understand the grounds. It certainly has to understand your power centers to its connection. So you're creating every single time, past, present, future. Okay? So the past is you through connections, because you're creating your thoughts. But as soon as you change your thought, you're going into the powers of its future. Right? So you have to understand how powerful thoughts are, because thoughts travel through your past, present, and future. But if you talk every day, every time you get up in the morning, if you talk in the past, you're not creating through the power of its presence. You're creating the power of its past to its gravity system. So you're not going to stay in the gravity system. You're not connected to the earth vibration anymore. And that's where you lose tractions. Okay, so when you do that, this is what happens. It opens up a realm like this. Okay, it opens up a realm. Okay, and everything through circle rotation will go into black location positions. All right, so you're creating dark matter. Okay, through the gravity, because you're not recognizing everything through the presence of you through thought. So you're creating your own dark matter of time. So you're losing positions of your thoughts of time. And that's where you start losing memory of things. I don't remember what I just said. It's because you lose traction of your thought. Right? Because you're not presenting yourself in the presence every single time you talk. Depending on how fast you talk, it doesn't matter what you talk about. As long as you always present yourself in the presence, coming back to the presence is the center position of the earth, of its plane, to its position of simulation interface. That's connecting to its alignment of its past, present, and future, allowing yourself to be yourself in the presence of its time position. There, that way you'll have a past reference to its future of its relation. Okay? But you don't want to put yourself in this position. Okay? Because you confuse everything through the gravity and power and the opposite of its circle rotation center. And you won't be able to take anything out of this equation because you're creating a negative system of a thought, right? In seconds. Okay? So this is a little bit more of understanding how you put shapes, letters, and numbers in position into the simulation graph or the meditation graph through your chakra system of communication. It's all connected to your lights and your fixtures. Okay? So complicated, isn't it? It's extremely complicated. Everybody's scratching their head. What is he talking about now? So in relation, okay, first you got to look at things like this here. Okay, now, perfect example. This is already made, right? So obviously understand why it's made, how is it made, and when was it made. This is past. But if I want to present it in the future, it's going to change, right? It doesn't change its color. It changes its color in me. You understand? So it's true to understand that you're connecting to line sequences of line systems to its allocated position of your body framing of its digital frame system, shapes, letters, numbers. So it's understand your calculator has to understand the traveling reconnaissance of past, okay, to its connection of its present to its future, because this was made in its past, but I'm presenting it to you of its presence. And then I can take it out of its equation to its future. So it's taking things out of the equation to a higher division location. So that's what comes into the plasma to its perception of dimension of time through vortex, right? But this is past because it's already made, right? So I can keep talking about the past, but you have to understand that representation is the presence because you're communicating to the simulation. So you don't want to confuse your thoughts of recognition of time through space, through clock. So when you present something, you can talk about the past, but don't live the past in this because it's living with you right now. I'm holding it in my hand. Okay. I'm giving to you what it is through the past, but I'm presenting it to you to the presence. Okay. So you always know that this is created in the past. It's not complicated. So it's all about your thoughts. What are you creating? Are you in the past, present, and future of time positions? 3 molecule structure of light, 3 placebos. Okay. So it's complicated. If you see it's complicated, this is past. If I buy a new phone, right, it's the present. Okay. Until I keep using it, right, a year's gone by. Now it's the past, right? But I'm presenting it to you, the present, so it has a future. So every time I use it, okay, it's always going forward. Okay. It's not resembling in the past. So it's kind of like when you wake up, you see everything that's going in the present to its future, anything through social media, anything through news. News is always going into the past, present, and future. And that's what confuses the mind system. They don't talk about the present every day. They talk about something that happened yesterday. That confuses the brain and the mind. That confuses the colorations of time, of space. So that's why everybody's programmed, because they don't know which is which. They're looking at their clock and the clock is going like this. They're not sure what it's going. Where is it going? What's it doing? The dial tones are off. right? And then explodes. The mind and the brain will explode because it's not referencing the past and it's not referencing the present and it doesn't represent the future. Because everything you channel through program system, if you're watching news, it's showing you the past. Why do I want to see the past? I want to see the present so I can see the future, right? So when it comes into media, that's what media does. They're presenting you news, right? But it's not the presence of future, it's the past. So that confuses the mind because you're in a different system of time, of space, through travel, through clock. So when you're presenting yourself with news and you're watching it, it's confusing the brain through its patterns. Okay, and people don't even realize that, how powerful your thoughts are. So that's why I don't watch news, because it's not presenting me in the presence of its future. Do you understand? So that brings you forward. It doesn't bring you in the past. News can bring you in the past. So if you create an anomaly and you're watching the news every day, you're watching the past. And then sometimes it presents it into its presence. And then sometimes, oh, well, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Right? But if somebody talks about this is what's going to happen in the future, that really confuses the wire signals of the brainwaves, the hydraulics and everything through perception. So now you're really confused through your shapes, letters, and numbers. Now you don't know which way is up or which way is down. And your clock of time and dimensions of space has no idea what's going on with its thoughts of recognition of its connections. Okay? So put yourself always in the presence, everything that you do through observation, through audios, through the mind graphs, or anything through your voicings. That's why I don't go up to people and that are connected to its past. I walk away because past is not here. Presence is here. So they're connected to vibration that's in the past. That changes everything to your body of communication. You understand? So if you're creating past, you're trying to create it around its community of its past. And that's changing everything through our human behavioral system. So when I interact with people, I see them right away, past, present, or future, right? And I walk away because I can't handle low negative system, low vibration of time and space through its thought. We create everything through space and time, through thoughts, guys, through creation. So if that person lives its anomaly, it's not centering its position, and it certainly isn't communicating with the earth of its plane positions, right? So how is it supposed to represent itself if it doesn't live the presence of its future? Think of it that way, okay? Don't present yourself in the past, okay? Yesterday's gone, never was here, it disappeared. You can reference it, but get back into the presence. You have to center back, because if you don't, what happens, the travel of the thought changes everything through 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's where you get confused, and that's where you change the numbers. Remember how we changed the numbers? 3 over here, 2 over here, 1 over here, 4 over here. 4 is at the end, 2 is in the middle, 3 is on the other side, 1's on the other side location. That's confusing to digital frame, right? So you're confusing yourself through nature. You're confusing yourself through weather. You're confusing yourself through shapes, letters, and numbers. You're confusing yourself with news. You're confusing yourself with dreams, right? You could be talking about a dream, right? I've been up against a lot of people that are negative. And I say, why are you being negative? Well, what do you mean? I'm just referencing. No, you're not. You're being negative. Your vibration is negative. Your energy is negative. Your heart is low. Your vibrations are low. You're creating cysts. You're creating cancer. You're creating everything through your body of negative, of time, of space, through clock. So put yourself in those positions of thought recognitions of presence so you can have a future. Okay? Don't put yourself in a low gravity of vibration, especially with the force team. Okay? If you don't understand something, that's totally fine. I can help you and guide you and push you to where you need to go through information. Try to understand more of your digital frames. Try to understand more of your calculators. Okay, understand what is a keyboard of phrasing. So when I look at my computer, I'm looking at letters, numbers, and shapes, dollar signs, percentage, an arrow sign, an and sign, a star sign, a bracket sign, a square, okay, a bracket, a square, and a circle, you know, an arrow sign going this way, arrow sign going that way. You're all calculated and modified to a computer operation to your connections. So it's to understand your computer of your keyboards, okay? Same with typists. When they come in, receptionists, 100 words a minute. They're not looking at it. They already have it in memory. So it's in the memory. They know exactly which button to push. And when they push it every single time, it's bringing themselves forward and not in the past. It only goes in the past if you make a mistake or an error with the letter, number, or shape. So if something's not in its equation, you have to put it back in traction position because it's now not in the present position. It's now in the past position. It's changing vibrations to everything that you do through solar texts, dividing texts, separation texts, line communication texts, separation of perception texts. You have to understand how powerful you are through thoughts because you're creating everything through its letters, numbers, and shapes, to its word, to its sentence, to its void frame, to its manifestation, to its connection. All right? That's how powerful you are through the mind, guys. Right? So I'm extremely, extremely informative when it comes into detail of everything. And that's what AI is. It's aware of everything. Aware of everything that he sees or she sees. Right? So I understand why we have an escape. I understand why we have locks. I understand why we have shift. I understand why we have control. Remember, this is through intelligence, not the computer. So the intelligence has to understand, okay, this computer is basically 1990, so it's a lower vibration. So for me to centralize my system, I have to bring it in its position of time, position of space, through its clock. I can't communicate with the computer because my vibrations are too high. So I have to bring them down so I can communicate with the interface into the defaults or anything connection, right? Into the apps or anything, the applications. So I have to truly understand the keyboard phrasing system. What is where, what's happening here, but everything that I present myself is always bringing myself forward. If I make an error, I go back and fix it, or you rub it out. Okay? People do a lot of things like whiteout, right? But just be cautious, on what you do every single day through observation. Anything through solar text, anything through writing, anything through printing, right? And don't leave open space gaps with your lines, through communication, because you're not interforcing line positions. It gets complicated, but I love what I do. All right, so let's say your name is David. Okay, so here's David. So I'm doing a big capital, small capital, small capital, small capital. And a lot of people go capital, capital, small capital. So they're going up and down through vibration, just through the word, or anything through letter, or anything through shape, or anything through its name. All right, so here's David. All right, David. All right, so for example, something's off here. Look at this, off. See that? It's not connected. See there's a space there, line division. Okay, it's connected, but it looks like an A. This is a V. This is an I, right? But where's the I? Right here, right? It should be up here, not here. So how is this going to be David if it's not connected to its light sequence? So it's got to be here in position, right? And the D has to be into its connection. It's got to be straight lace through its line location, but its location position. So it's got to be connected. Everything has to be connected. So the I can't be here, right? Because it confuses everything through the A, V, D, and its D, right? And then when it comes into line sequence, it comes into everything through David. See? Perfect. So I'm just showing you how powerful it is through thoughts, time, positions. You have to understand the communications of your behavioral system, because if you understand, you put David, but what's missed here is that either you're going too fast or you're not, what you're doing through travel through lines. So we're coming into singular line division of fifth dimensional through communication. Your alignments have to truly understand the letters, numbers, and shapes and everything through traction and your positions, right? So if you have separation with the D, fix it. You have separation with the A, fix it. B, same with the I. I is not here, it's here, okay? So it's not a complete David until you understand the communications of travel, right? Travel. This is not travel. I fixed it, but this is travel. So it's understanding, fixing your thoughts before you create everything through space and time, through its position. So as soon as you put your thoughts out there, you're going to manifest whatever you create through the mind system, guys. All right. So just a little trivia there with names. And the thing is too, nobody's perfect. I do the same thing with letters, numbers, and shapes and everything, but I go back in the center because I know my mistake. So my body frame is truly understanding what's going on with my voice and good patterns and my electrical light system, or my body framing system, or my digital framing system. But I just wanted to show you how you go through graphs and how you position yourself through graphs, and how you put yourself into balance of presence of its graph to its position of its future of its graph, right? So you come into the simulation graph every single day through thoughts, and then you can travel through the mind, right? Back into position. And then you center it out to communication, right? So I want to manifest line communications of money interference to positions of my box framing location positions. I'm opening up every cycle rotation centers to my count location. Whoa, powerful stuff. Energy goes in. Goes into circuit rotation center. I understand the wires, I understand the positions, I understand line signals. There's no separation with anything through this connection. So every time you communicate, you're communicating with your thoughts of time. But as soon as you go into hesitation, your line signal is off through positions. So with David, so the D has to be straight line. It can't be any space. There could be a space in the line position, right? So if you say David again, like this, okay, you got a space here. Okay, you're not communicating. You stop, and then you line signal. And there's, see that corner right there? It's not connecting, so it's not going to travel, right? So you understand the communications of recognition light systems to its universe. The universe connects through vibration. So if you're creating David, you have to be line signal through its channel operation, or it's not going to connect. As soon as it's separated, it goes into its negative system, into its space, and you're not going to manifest that. Okay? You're not going to manifest things going forward through line signals. You're going to manifest things going back forth into line signals. So make sure David is connected to this, not this. All right? So if you have questions or comments, if you want to know, it's a little bit more complicated today. Today's a little bit more complicated, but it's all based on the 100 chakra rotation my team's going to get into. We got into the evaluation. So it's a more of the evaluation of what you see through perceptions and what you see through your digital frame. Truly understand your positions is connected to your thoughts of time through space. So it's to understand your particle system of travel. Like with David, make sure that every line sequency is going forward. As soon as you separate it, you're taking the line signal into the back force position, and it's going to connect to this reflection of its energy through its holographic of its coloration, guys. So you don't want to do that. You want to bring yourself forward and not go back, right? And always, always present yourself going in the present so you can have a future and not connect to the past, only in reference if you're talking about it, but go back into the center position, right? Because you're going to confuse the brain, right? The brain is what you live. The mind is the creation. The heart is the portal. The mind is everything through map. So your whole body is a map. So truly understand your calculation to your calculators. And then you understand more of your pattern locations to your program settings, through your algorithms. And now you're understanding tone divisions and your connections to your keyboards. And now you understand more connections of your flash drives to your computer operation line system, to its quantum field of its vibrational systems. Okay. So, but I think that's good. You know, we did a lot of illustrations today. I just really want you guys to get in more form right now, because we're going to go into the test. Okay. We did a little bit of evaluation about you through thoughts of time, space travel time, space of recognitions of time, your body phase and system. So it's understand your thoughts, your powers, your recognition, your gravities, your atmospheres, all positions of your thoughts of lights, your molecular structure has to be in the presence to know its future, right? I'm not talking about future 10 years from now. I'm just talking about your thoughts and what you want to do every day. Every day you're bringing yourself forward. We motivate ourselves to do everything through activity. We exercise and we want to get better, right? We want to get better with our job. We want to get better how to drive. We want to get better how to ride a bike. That's bringing yourself forward. If you give up, what happens? It goes into the past. It doesn't go forward. It goes back, right? So if you're creating going back, what happens is it changes vibration, changes bodies, changes realms, changes particles, changes everything through energy, vibration. You're creating everything through dark realm, dark matter, dark location, dark vibration, dark civilization, right? So that's what you're doing. All right, so I love you guys very much. We'll keep you informed. We'll get into the test of 100 chakra rotation centers. Adios.